So, so Erica, what have you
Woo.
gained from working with me the one time? What have you and your son gained?
Um, I just felt so light. Like when we were all done, I felt like the lightest I've ever felt.
Hmm.
And I felt connected to my son in a different way. Like he was calm, he was peaceful, he was holding my hand, he was sitting next to me. Just it was just so weird. And then the next day, I've always noticed his head is like not lopsided, but it was lopsided from the trauma from birth. And I
Hmm.
was looking at him in the bathtub the next day, or like from his side profile, and he looked completely different. It was so weird because his head took normal shape.
Wow.
So, like, just seeing his facial structure change and like his body change and the way he was carrying himself and walking, like, just everything. I mean, it was night and day. And
That
then
is so
even like when
awesome.
I would even when I smiled, my smile was different. My whole face changed. My eyebrows were like even again for the first time. Like everything changed and I could feel it structurally like in my cheeks. I wasn't tight in my cheeks anymore. My neck felt so much better. I felt like I was 5 years old. Like my body felt like I was 5 years old. It was the weirdest feeling I have ever experienced.
That is,
I
it
can't
was
even put it
amazing.
into words.
I actually mentioned your face was different and you looked into the screen, you're like, oh my God, it is.
Yeah, it was. And I still feel like it is. It's so
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah. Back in the
It's
day
crazy.
when my head was all screwed up, I thought it was always that my cheap sunglasses that I wore because one eyebrow was
Yeah.
always over the top. Nope, it was my head.
That is me. That was
Yeah.
me. Yep. I had the same problem.
Yeah. And then you mentioned that your husband was kissing you on the forehead,
Yeah, it was weird. He was being like more intimate in a weird way, like a loving way, like a
right?
nurturing kind of way, which is weird. It was almost like I was being more like in my feminine energy, which I'm normally always in the masculine. So I noticed I was everything was different, and feel like it still is. It's different. I don't even know how to explain it.
Yeah. Yeah. It
It's weird.
definitely
It's
is.
weird.
Of course, we have to realize we still live in the real world and
Yeah.
you're going through massive changes with starting a business and other businesses and stuff. So, getting to the root cause of
Hmm.
why do I feel out of sorts right now so
Hmm.
that you can release that root as well as everything along that line, which is one thing that we're going to be doing with the class tomorrow. So that anything that's outside of me right now in this moment isn't triggering that thing within me. It's not the triggers out there, it's these are my triggers and I'm choosing to release them or bury them deeper. And we don't want to bury them deeper, do we?
No, not
No.
at all. Especially now that I know how good I can feel.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that
been
was
really nice. I mean, even me and my husband, like, I just feel like our relationship has even changed for the better. It's just weird. We just have gotten a lot more like deep with each other, like even just emotionally, like how we speak with each other, just in general, it's been weird. It's been very, I feel like I'm able to accept it more versus like pushing it away.
yes.
Oh, that
That's so
same with my
awesome.
son. Yeah.
Yes.
And it's very interesting. I can't even put it into words, to be honest. Like I kind of was speechless when we got done, just from
Mhm.
how different my body felt. I was literally speechless, and I still am.
Yeah. It's hard to explain. It's hard.
It is.
Yeah. I mean, I was a massage therapist and then went to the Rolf Institute because I got Rolfed. And one day I was walking through the mall and it felt like somebody grabbed my butt. And I turned around and there's nobody behind me. My hips were actually moving. And it
Oh,
was like,
weird.
holy cow. So that's why I went to the Rolf Institute because my body was moving. Unfortunately, I was still only addressing the physical aspect of my body, right? Because that's all I knew. And once I
Hmm.
started tapping into the emotions and acknowledging that I could balance the chakras and the meridians and I didn't have to go get acupuncture once a week to feel better because it's all
Hmm.
just energy, everything began changing, especially when I realized that I could balance and heal the cranial bones and especially the brain because of all the head injuries that I've done to myself being a snowboarder, doing things that I was not supposed to be doing.
Hmm.
There was crazy, not only physical trauma, but the emotional stuff that I took to my snowboarding was stuck into that trauma also. So that's what we addressed with you also, not just balancing the neck and the head, but pulling out the emotions in relation to the injuries and the things that you had held on to throughout your lifetime.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's definitely where that's where you really helped me, because it was almost like I wasn't understanding that piece of it.
Yeah.
And I have this weird thing where I have a hard time doing it with myself, but when I know that somebody else is like talking me through it, it's easier for me to like bring it up, if
Right.
that makes sense.
And
Like the
no, it
emotion comes
totally
up
does.
easier.
Yeah, because we've been so disconnected from ourself, right?
Mhm.
Because, well, if I'm connected to myself, I got to feel the pain, and the pain isn't any fun. And
Yeah.
then I got to go and I've got to face my fears while I'm in pain. That sucks. And that's why
Mhm.
working with somebody like me is wonderful, because they're supporting you while they're literally clearing out the garbage. Now,
Yeah.
one thing that's really great for you that you're going to, do you have a weighted blanket?
I do, yep.
Okay. Use it while you're tapping.
Oh, that's smart. Okay.
Yeah, because it gives you that sense of safety and security while you're going through the friggin' chaos.
Mhm.
And that my tapping came really easy to me. I didn't believe it worked, but because I paid money for it, I put it to test. And like you saw on my paperwork 17 years ago, I'm still not afraid of heights. But it stopped working for me. And I'm like, what is going? Nothing's working. And it's because I got to a layer that was scary. And that's
Okay.
right after I got back from a breathing class, which is what I teach with the 3 in and 5 out when you're beginning. And they used a lot of weighted bags. So I got myself some weighted bags and put on me, started tapping, and it's like, oh my God,
Yeah.
too
I
much,
let
too
it out.
fast.
Yeah. Released it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
But that's also what I did in the back in my shop behind my house back in the day. I would be in there for an hour and a half, 2 hours at a time, tapping on that one video that I have on my website there, the first one. I used
Mhm.
that same video for 2 hours at a time, just tapping and clearing and balancing. And that was for 6 months. I did that because
Wow.
I was not in a good way.
Yeah.
But it
Crazy.
was, I'm so grateful I did it, because I learned so much, not only about myself, but how to better do the work in relation
Mhm.
to what I have now.
So, like, when you talk about how your goal is to get people to be able to do it on their own, and then you only need to come see you like once a year, like as far as how you do like your chakras, your meridians, your cranial, the nerves, all of that, like obviously I wouldn't know how to do any of that. So is that
No,
a
no, no.
separate piece?
We all know how to do that.
We do. Okay.
It's just energy. And
Okay.
the chakra work that I teach from, that's from Anodea Judith. Not everybody agrees with Anodea Judith. I don't
Okay.
care. Her
Okay.
work makes sense to me. I know that there are chakras in the body, and I know
Mhm.
there's a lot more than just 7 chakras. But I
Mhm.
also realize that all those meridian points are also chakras. They're just
Mhm.
energy centers. And when they get blocked, they create chaos. And
Mhm.
chaos in us starts or presents itself in many different ways in relation to each and every individual person. So when you ask your subconscious self, where would be the best place for me to work today to bring myself into balance?
Mhm.
Subconscious will not lie to you.
Okay.
Unfortunately, when we've been holding on to so much stuff, all that stuff might get in the way of the truth of what the subconscious is saying. And that's
Okay.
why we want to address those things every single day to get yourself lighter and lighter, raise your vibration, as they say, or whatever we want to believe. So that when we muscle test or when we ask our subconscious, that energy comes through and it says, oh, at when you said, oh, when I was a young kid, I was afraid of doing it wrong. Okay, perfect. It might have been before that, but
Yeah.
because of what you cleared on your own today, your back already feels better.
Mhm.
Which means that as I bring it up here again, your internal support structure is
Mhm.
better online. It's still lagging a little bit in your pelvis, as you can feel, but
Yeah, I
after
can feel it in
today,
the low back.
Yeah. So allow yourself to turn this on right now. Go ahead and massage your ears while you look at this screen. There you go. Notice the tension. That's your subconscious going, I don't believe this, but we're rubbing on the ears to talk to it and say, hey, this is what I want. There you go. And feel the lower back easing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And feel your pelvic floor softening into your chair.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And that goes, as we see here, into the diaphragm. So allow your abdomen to expand as you inhale. Allow your abdomen to relax as you exhale, because it's not the abdomen doing the work, it's the diaphragm pulling down, which pushes on all of the internal organs, and that's what makes the belly expand. It's not
Okay.
you flexing the belly and tightening the belly, it's this diaphragm moving the organs. But even as we're sitting here right now, we're not doing anything. So we don't have to take a big old quick, big breath. We can just take a 3-second inhale, pretending that we're breathing down in here before up in here, and watching that air fill up the space, and then watching that air leave the space. Pretend you've got valves down here in the bottom of your lungs, and that's where the air begins coming in. That's where the air ends when you exhale. It's imagination. Imagination's huge for what you can do. Unfortunately, we imagine too much that it's all bad.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And notice your
Yep.
belly tightened up. Oh, yeah. I got more bad stuff in there. Yeah, we
Yeah, I got a
do.
lot.
No, we'll just say, yes, I'm holding on to some stuff and I'm going to choose to let it go. We're not going to say we got a lot, because then it's kind of like writing a list of everything we need to do. And then you look at the list and the list is overwhelming.
Yeah.
I'm just going to one thing at a time, boom, boom, boom. And every day I'm getting better and better and better. Cool, cool.
I think that was like the nail on the head though, with the afraid of doing it wrong.
Yeah.
That was like a big one.
Right.
So thank you for that.
You're very welcome. Yeah. And like I said, if it doesn't change within a couple minutes, you are doing it wrong, or you're in the wrong place. You haven't
Okay.
got to the root.
Okay. Good to know. And if I can't find the root, what do you suggest?
It's time for a
If I-
session.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, I already think that's right. I'm ready for another session.
Oh yeah, definitely ready for another session. But if you can't find the root, it might mean that the root is bigger than your strength to handle it.
Okay. Good to know.
That was big.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that we can all do this for ourselves, but sometimes we're going to hit a wall that's just bigger than we need. And oh, all right, I've been doing the work, but it's time. I need some assistance to get over this wall. We get you
Okay.
over the wall, and then you just start running again.
Yeah, that's how I felt after our first session. I felt like I was running like 5-year-old all over again. It was awesome.
Right? I actually experienced that once. I was working with, I think he was 4 or 5. And I had a really big office at the time. And he goes, can you stop? I'm like, yeah. And he stands up. I feel like running. And he just starts running around the room.
Gosh, like
It was
zoomies
so
like
awesome.
a dog. That's funny.
Yeah.
So when you're done working with people, are you just saying like I give myself permission to release what is not mine? Or like, do you have any tips on that?
Yeah. That's a great thing to say. Yep.
Just give myself permission to
For
release what is
instance,
not
before I got off of you today, I was gently tickling my face, because if I'm ticklish, that means I've got too much energy. So especially my eyes, if my eyes are ticklish, oh my gosh, I'm blown up. Actually, I'm glad it took you a minute to get on the video, because I turned on the camera and my eyes were all, I'm like, oh crap, I gotta fix this. I gotta fix this.
That's funny. So
So
basically just allowing myself to release anything. Cause I do notice that when I work with people that I I'm just making sure I'm releasing everything that's not mine, and I just want to make sure that that's other than like grounding my energy and whatever else. I was just making sure that'd be a good thing to say.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yep.
Okay. Perfect.
Perfect.
Ooh, I feel better already.
Good. Beautiful. Well, right on. I'm glad I was able to help, and I'm glad you gave me this testimony there. This is going to help a lot of people realize, oh, okay, this guy's not a kook.
Not at all. I don't think you're a kook at all. I think you're doing amazing things. Keep it up.
Right
But
on.
I get what you mean. It is hard for people if they're not in that mindset. They don't understand. It's
Yeah,
just different.
I wouldn't have believed it. I mean, I didn't even believe it back in the day when I was in the Rolf Institute. They told us a story.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's a guy, he never touches anybody and everybody feels better. It's like, we're supposed to be lengthening fashion. No, he doesn't touch anybody. How does that work?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
here I am.
That's interesting. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So he taught you, he trained you?
At the Rolf Institute, he's one of my instructors. Yeah.
That's
Not
awesome.
not the guy that didn't look at people. No.
Oh, that was a
No,
different guy.
Yeah, this was along the way. I started tapping into my natural gifts and started realizing I can move fascia without touching anybody, and just a flip of my hand, and then all of a sudden their leg would lengthen. It's like the lady I worked with earlier. She laid down on the floor of the house, and I had her husband look, and her legs are like an inch difference. He's like, oh my God. And I started talking her through some stuff, and then her legs switched. The other leg was longer.
Oh my gosh.
And
That's
then we got her
crazy.
balanced, and I never touched her. I just brought her attention to things while I did whatever I do for pulling energy out. Yeah, it was pretty cool watching the whole body shifting without her even moving.
Yeah, like the way that you pull out energy, like, is that something, if I don't know how to do that, is that something that would affect how I'm healing myself or no?
Giving yourself permission to release the energy. Okay.
Okay. And so you're doing that for people? Is that basically what you're doing?
I'm doing that for people, but I'm also talking them through what I'm doing, because like I said, when you've been in pain for a long time, you're disconnected. So I'm actually feeling more than you're feeling, but I'm talking you through that to help you get back into your body so you can start taking charge of it.
Okay. Yeah, that's the piece that I feel like you helped me with. Like you talking me through it allowed my body to feel it almost.
Right. And that's where I think that's where like Reiki and stuff falls short. Yep. I'm giving you the energy, but if that we've got that darkness inside, and that darkness hasn't been pulled out, then that energy is not going in as deep as we want it to. I mean,
Yeah,
it feels amazing, but let's pull the darkness out and then give that energy and replace it, and
that makes
everything
sense.
changes. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Great.
Cool.